everyone. This is the beautiful Miss Victoria Barclay.
Hi, everyone.
That's not Miss. I'm married to her, so it's Ms., I guess. So, hey, I found the other day, I was putting this behind us, and I found Godzilla.
Godzilla.
Yes. Godzilla was part of our wedding, and you know, it's funny. I was thinking we've won a lot of awards for weddings, but we haven't done nearly as many as some of the other things that we do.
Right.
But, you know, we had some really special things that were really different at the wedding.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my matron of honor is a very good friend from college, Kate Haxton Weed. Her husband designed, he's a model maker. And this is how Godzilla ties in.
Oh, yeah.
So he designed Howie Weed, who's a model maker. He worked for a lot of different movies, but eventually started working for ILM, which is Industrial Light and Magic with
God, what has he done? He's done so many different models.
Well, Gremlins, Enemy Mine, The Fly, that was before ILM, and then he was the head creature developer for the Wampa on Hoth in Empire Strikes Back, which is the ice creature. And he was brilliant, and he's a model maker, and he does all.
And that was on our cake.
Yes, so he designed, I don't know how he got it right, but he had got my wedding dress right, and he has me with a juggling club trying to swat off Godzilla, and Lewis is standing in front of me, and there's a little bubble that says, "Wait, do you have an agent?" So Godzilla is coming up the cake, and Lewis is fending him off, and I'm fending off, and my dress is in shreds, and that's what the model is, and they surprised us with that, and it was awesome. And I remember when he put it together, he put us on the cake, and then he looked at Godzilla and he says it needs something. And he took Godzilla's claws and he made claw marks in the cake, and then he set Godzilla down next to it. So we framed it with a picture of it, and we have it on our wall at home. And that's one of the most special.
Yeah, it's great when you have unique touches like that at a wedding that are so personal.
Yeah.
Vic and I actually met before we met. Because we both worked at the Comedy Workshop.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah, you were in the improv company and I was doing stand-up.
And you were on your way, you were leaving the workshop. I remember seeing you, but not realizing till like years later that was you.
For those of you who don't know what the Comedy Workshop was, it was one of the premier clubs, comedy clubs in the country. It was as big as the Boston scene or a lot of the other scenes. Yeah, Sam Kinison came out of it, Bill Hicks, Janine Garofalo, on and on and on. A ton of my brother with the Texas Outlaw Comics. It was a big club, and we were both working there, but we didn't meet at that time.
I came like right after you. Yeah.
No, we met at Radio Music Theater. I was about to leave for Los Angeles, and I had trusted some people that I shouldn't have, and I was completely bankrupt. I owed debts, tremendous amount of debts, and it took me 6 months to get rid of that. I was working like 24/7, and
just before I met you.
Yeah,
just before I met you.
Yeah, thank goodness. We wouldn't be here if you'd met me. But,
I don't know. I wouldn't have asked.
At that time, I was about to leave, and then Radio Music Theater. And by the way, they are still performing. What city are they in now?
Arkansas, but I don't remember the town.
Yeah, if you get a chance, if you're in Arkansas, see them. Those are brilliant. Yeah. And we had both been taught improv by them at different times. Yeah. And so you had worked with them putting in their new place.
Yes, that's right. I laid baseboards.
And they asked me to, at the time I was also an international pantomime performer. See how I stumble on that word. It's hard for me to remember now. But I performed with a really great troupe. and they asked me to come in and do pieces to warm up the crowd and get the crowd to applaud and just like the old
Because they were
radio days.
they were recording radio shows at the time,
Yes.
as well as doing live shows. So they wanted someone to warm up the audience, do the breaks,
Mhm.
keep everybody excited.
Yeah. And also when I performed, I'd get laughter, and they could use that to sweeten some of the stuff that they were doing. And
so I saw you that night, and jugglers and mimes, there's this thing, and like competitive thing.
Oh, wait a second. You're going way too quick, because even before then, I was in the green room, and Victoria had come into the green room, and they had this couch that is really, it should have.
Typical green room couch, you sank into it.
Yes.
It was like 2 feet off the ground, if that.
Yeah, they must have pulled it out of a front yard that was being thrown away. But anyway, I was on this thing, and Victoria came in, and all I could see were legs, and she had the most amazing legs. Victoria was a dancer choreographer, and people used to put notes on her car that she had the most beautiful legs in the world, and she did.
That happened.
Yeah, and so they were saying, meet Victoria, and so I was leaning back on the couch to get up, and I swung out and fell basically into her breasts, and she said, yeah, I remember. I can remember. And she said, anything else I could do for you? And I went, oh God, I love this girl. So we met that night.
Yeah, we met that night.
And we probably wouldn't have gotten together except for my best friend at the time.
Oh yeah.
Hank Amigo was in from LA. Hank Amigo, who he's a brilliant performer, and he wrote the comedy for when Jesse Jackson was on Saturday Night Live. He worked for Jesse Jackson, and he wrote a lot of the material for that show.
Yeah.
And
so he had he had his eye on one of my girlfriends that I was hanging out with, and he said, "Hey, you go out with Vic. If you go out with Vic, I'll go out with Caroline, and we'll double date." And, and you were like, "Okay."
Yeah, I really thought it improper, actually, because I had asked Victoria if she could do a show that she was going to be in a bathing suit and do a modeling piece for me. You remember that shopping mall?
It wasn't a bathing suit.
No?
No. It's funny how your imagination. No, but it was a very cute black thing for Fendi.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I was going to be a mime for Fendi, and one of those hard perfume girls.
Oh.
But it was their product launch, and I had a lot of mime training, but it'd been a while, so Lou was going to help me with that. And anyway, we did go out on this date, and
and at the time, I was very into this metaphysical stuff. There was this person called Ramtha, who was a 1,000-year spiritualist who I'd gotten involved with because of another girlfriend. And Victoria used to subscribe to the Skeptical Inquirer. So we got along great until I started opening my mouth.
And I was like, yeah, we could be good friends, but no, nothing here, no magic, no nothing.
Yeah, it was, but then the second date, she called up because we had to get together for me to show her some of the mime stuff. And she said, I've got this movie, and would you like to see To Have and Have Not? And that's a movie I'd been wanting to see forever, the one with Jack Benny. And we just clicked again. Mm. It's amazing what a movie could do for people. But
and I always have this theory that if you go on a date, take the person to a comedy that you really, really love. And if they laugh in the same places that you laugh, then you've got something.
You know, that's really true, because I took a beautiful girl out, ugly girl out. I took an ugly girl out once to a show, and it was a Harry Chapin show, and she didn't get it at all, and I just like,
No.
no,
Yeah.
neither. But I had a crush on Victoria for 4 years. Took 4 years before Victoria would marry me, and I was going to propose to you before.
Mhm.
About a year in, I was going to propose to Victoria, and
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, I could feel it. We went out on this date, and I could just feel that something was going on. And I remember specifically at one point, I was like, please don't, please don't, please don't, please don't, because I just knew he was going to propose, and I was nowhere near ready. I'm like the tortoise. I'm slow and steady, and I was like, no, 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 not now. Maybe later, but not now.
I really had set up a lot of stuff. To my daughter was with me, which, by the way, proposing with your daughter with you, brilliant idea.
She's about 4 years old at the time.
Yeah.
4 or 5.
And I had this ring that I had. That was back when everyone was putting rings in cakes, and there have to be so many people who swallowed rings back then. But anyway, I didn't do it, thank goodness. And really good, because even after I proposed at Radio Music Theater, where I proposed at the place where we met, it took us another 2 years, because we have all of these performers, and we had to make sure that
we did like a save the date before
Mhm.
save the date was really a thing. And we had this checkoff list. First of all, it was like a newsletter, and it was like, juggler to wed mime, and, father saying, well, at least it's not a ventriloquist. And, it was really fun. And we had these places to check off for our entertainers, our friends, who said, things like, sorry, I can't make it, but, I wish you the best, or no, I'll be on the Tonight Show, so get it, or anyway, there was a lot of checkoff things. I designed it and printed it and everything. Again, before people were really doing any of that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was managing Michael Davis at the time, who was one of the 2 or 3 top convention acts in the country. He's the juggler who used to do the Appalachian bowling ball routine. He was 5 times on Saturday Night Live, and you can find him if you look at my management site. He's brilliant. And we had to figure around his schedule too.
We figured around a lot of friends' schedules and family schedules. Yeah. It was complicated.
And finally we did. And at the time, I was not only doing pantomime and comedy, but DJing. I had come up with a concept, the interactive concept, that had been really, really working for me and another performer, Ernest Thomas. And we were a black-white comedy team. I'm the white one. And it worked out really well for us. But
yeah, it was great.
You kept on getting calls from, we had set a date, and we had with this one lady.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. She's like, I said, well, we're getting married on that date, so that won't be possible. And she goes, well, let me know if anything changes. And I was like, really? Okay, come on.
Had to have her bar mitzvah.
Yes, she wanted the bar mitzvah date for Lunar. On our wedding day, our wedding weekend. We decided to do a weekend. It was a Labor Day weekend. In fact, our anniversary is coming up. And it was a 3-day weekend. And we decided to take a week, come in like a week or a half week earlier. Right. Just to have some time to ourselves. Mm-hmm. Out at the Guadalupe River Ranch.
A beautiful place. It was a real spiritual place for me. Walter Starkey was there, who was a lecturer and a writer, and one of the top people on that circuit, that whole spiritual circuit.
Well, also Broadway producer.
Yes, he produced Bell Book and Candle, which was a top one, and also the show that became
Cabaret.
Cabaret.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, he was a sweet
I Am a Camera.
Yeah,
I think
very sweet man. Yeah.
Yeah. He was incredible, and he was really important to us, because when we went to the Guadalupe River Ranch for that week, Victoria got so sick right away.
One night.
But that one night I was sweating for a whole week.
It was I don't know, 2 or 3 days before we got married, and I was feeling. The weird thing is, I was feeling fine. I had no premonitions. I had no bad feelings.
I was
looking
sure.
forward to the
I was
wedding.
sure she was having second thoughts
No,
the whole time.
And I wasn't really even sick. It's just in the middle of the night, I kept getting up and throwing up.
I was sure it was because of me.
And after the second or third time, I was like, oh, this is funny. Because I felt fine. And I just thought, this is hysterical. I know I'm fine. I know everything's going to be fine. My body's just being weird. And then I had a long talk with Walter the next day.
Yeah.
And that really, he was really great. He was really supportive and helpful and, you know, just made me realize I was just nervous and kind of natural nerves.
I wish we had written down what he said to you, because it was all about being best friends, which is absolutely true. Victoria is my best friend, and that's always been true about our relationship. No relationship is perfect, but our relationship, at least we were friends.
Yeah.
Even when you hated me, you were my friend. Hated friends.
Hate's a strong word.
Well, that's the way I felt.
Yeah.
So I thought we were going to have several days
To ourselves. Yes. So yeah, apparently Luce's mother had invited the family to come in early without telling us. And
now my mom is the sweetest lady in the world.
I'm so very lucky to have such a wonderful mother.
I mean, she is the kind of person who, well, I was married once before Victoria, and that's where my beautiful daughter comes from, and you and my son. Thank you very much. and usually that would be a disaster afterwards, and we really did have a hard divorce, and my mother just included us. My ex-wife was at my wedding.
Yeah.
That's how.
His ex-wife is actually like a sister-in-law to me, and we worked together closely with the kids and the school and everything. So that was great. So his mother's a big peacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, she
old Jewish mother.
She showed up with my father-in-law and a couple of the uncles. And then
wait a second, she didn't show up. The cousins came.
No, the cousins came a few days later. Yeah, they came first. The parent ones came first.
You are right.
Yes, and then the cousins came later. So Ellie, my mother-in-law, went to pick up the cousins at the airport, and so my mother-in-law was a tremendous real estate agent. I mean, award-winning, brilliant woman.
Yeah.
Doing great even as we speak.
So we're coming in for dinner. And by the way, the Guadalupe River Ranch had a really wonderful dinner hall.
Oh yeah, like the day before wedding or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cousins show up, and we're walking over to greet them, and they're laughing, and they come up to Lou, and Danny shakes Lewis's hand and goes, "Hey, great to see you. Your mom's in jail." And we're like, "What?" We're like, "What are you talking about?" They go, "Well, she had a little gun in her purse."
It's Texas.
Completely forgot about. Well, at the time there were these attacks going on with real estate agents. So Lewis's dad was like, "You're not going out showing houses without a little gun on you." And it's tiny, a little feminine thing.
My dad was a Jewish redneck.
Yeah, he was a Jewish cowboy.
Yeah.
And so the cop apparently, because she took it into an airport, they had to arrest her. And the cop who apparently put her in the back seat and was taking her in said, "I cannot believe I'm arresting a grandma. I cannot believe I'm arresting a grandma.
Right.
I cannot believe I'm arresting a grandma." And she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I forgot." And
she's making them feel comfortable.
Yes. And she gets out in a few hours, but that's.
She had to go before a judge, though.
She did months later, yeah. And it was all resolved and everything, and they realized it was an honest mistake, and whatever.
Yeah, they actually had her in handcuffs, and the judge went by and went, "What are you doing? Take her out of the handcuffs."
Take her out of the handcuffs. So that's how it started. Let's see.
That's just a little part of the shaking up of the wedding. The next day, Hank Amigo, who I mentioned before, he played me for ping pong for Victoria, and he won. And he
didn't tell me.
He still let me marry her.
They're very competitive. Moose is a very competitive person. Hank is a very competitive person.
Oh yeah.
It was crazy.
And then we had Michael Davis and Frank Miles and Fly By Night, and a whole bunch of great jugglers were juggling on the lawn of the Guadalupe River Ranch. It was really exciting to watch all of this passing and stuff going on. And then my brother came. My brother is a brilliant wacko. He is just no other way to describe him. And we did all kinds of the normal stuff, but he did it in the most wacky way possible.
Well, he did wear a tie-dye T-shirt to the wedding.
Yeah. Did. Yeah. Yes. I don't even remember if he wore clothes when we were tubing. I know he didn't.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Yeah. We had a big family golfing thing that my dad set up, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And everyone was. We had stars who were golfing along with the cousins. It was really a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then the day of the wedding, you are in your space and I'm in mine. I'm getting ready and writing my vows, which I put off to the last minute because that's what I always do. And so scraps of paper were all around the bed while I was writing the vows, which I never used.
Yeah, you got it down to one thing, and then when we had our own vows, when you went to read your vows, you started, and then you looked at it, and you crumpled it up and threw it away and said, I got whatever. And then you ad-libbed the whole thing.
Yeah.
Of course. So that was fun. Yeah, and it was short, and it was outdoors because the Guadalupe River Ranch is stunning.
You had to be away forever because there were a lot of guests who were coming in that day, including your maid of honor and
who never made it. But my matron of honor did, and that was important.
And what we found out later on was there was this wreck in Houston, and the freeways were blocked, and it was taking forever for people to come out of Houston. And so we were waiting for hours and hours and hours. And then
we kept missing the daylight. We had to take the pictures early because we were worried that it was going to get dark too soon to be able to take pics.
And then later on, we found out that the guy who did this painting, who is a brilliant artist, Dan Dunn, who is the famous speed painter, he thinks he caused it. He's pretty sure he caused it.
He was lugging a boat, and he was on a way to the wedding, and the trailer lost a wheel and caused and went across the freeway and stopped everything.
Right, and then trucks piled up, but it was just.
He thinks that's what happened anyway. I don't know, but he never made it. The band, this was before GPS and everything, figured it out. Kit Reed's guys all went around a long way, and they finally made it. Because we wanted a mini big band, because we really like big band music. We wanted kind of I wanted a formal, in nature kind of thing. This duality of formal clothing on beautiful green lawns overlooking fields and rock outcrops and everything that you have out in the Guadalupe. So that was my image of the wedding. Was just this beautiful, comfortable formal attire. I wore a long dress.
But you're forgetting part of the reason we got Kit Reed also was because Hank had also been in this band with Kit. He played the trumpet, and Hank's multi-talented, and so he had played trumpet in Kit's band before, and that was one of the main reasons we wanted to get Kit. And then we also had my cousins were musicians, and Kit was like a musician's musician, so we wanted someone who could play with a lot of different people.
Yeah, and he was very generous. He let these other bands come up, so his cousin's band and In Zuzu's Pedals, Scott Washburn was a member of that.
Scott Washburn
they
worked
sang
for us in our
special-
office, but he's also a brilliant drummer, and he is with this group called Zuzu's Pedals,
at the time. Yeah.
was pretty famous actually at that time.
Yeah. So they played, and then we had a DJ as well.
And my partner,
Yeah,
DJ Ernie.
Actually, I think Mike DJ.
Really?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Oh, okay.
We didn't want Ernie to have to work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ernie, this is the first wedding he'd been to. And when I was dressing, I had brought a bunch of pants. Well, Ernie is tux pants. Well, I'm 6'3", and Ernie is about 5'8".
Yeah.
So the pants were a little different. So we had to really cuff them. And then I'd forgotten pins, so we had to staple
the bottom of
bottom of the pants. And I had a ponytail. Well, actually, I had really long hair. Your ex-boyfriend helped me with the ponytail. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's one of my BFFs. Frank Miles, who's a convention act.
Yeah, he's a great speaker and entertainer, really exciting performer.
Yeah.
And so we had all these exes there.
Yeah, but we were all friends.
Yeah, you even had an ex there. No, he wasn't even an ex. He was a friend who that was weird. Right at the wedding was like saying, if this doesn't work out.
It's like that bar mitzvah mom. If it doesn't work out, I'm like, what the heck is wrong with people? Anyway, the wedding itself went off great. We wanted to keep.
We did have a lot of little tragedies, like people not showing up.
So this is
her maid of honor not being able.
But my matron of honor was there, and that was great. That's the thing, is weddings bring out a lot of emotion. The bride and groom are usually fine, but it's the people around them. Sometimes it can bring up a lot of emotions because it's the first time they've gotten together in years, or they can be positive emotions, they can be negative emotions, and you really don't have control over that. You just try to provide the best experience you can, and we wanted a lot of options for people. We're very big on getting people together. So it was almost like the way we run company picnics, where, there was volleyballing, there was tubing, there was, meals every night on site that were included. So we wanted people to be able to take, 3 or 4 days and really in swimming and all this stuff that they could do on their own together, have private time, and really make it an experience, something that is very common now, but was not so common back then. You didn't see, unless it was like a wedding in Jamaica or something, you just didn't see these week-long weddings like that.
That's true.
Where people could just get together with their family. It was like a big family reunion. It was like a big artist reunion. And we just wanted lots of things where people could do things together.
But there were a lot of little problems. Like you had problems with your dress too, as I remember.
But that was not a big deal.
But there were all these things that could have been major tragedies for some people. But Victoria was so chill, and we were just having a good time with our friends. But there have been times when I have performed for weddings, DJ'd weddings. I remember one time this lady was walking down an aisle, and her train was so long, it swept the candles down and caught her train on fire. And people came to the reception, they were like, oh my God, this is just going to be a tragedy. And by the time I had talked with them and kidded with them, then everyone realized this was going to be the major story of all of their friends, that there's no way that this could turn out to be a minor incident. And when the bride and groom came, I said, everyone's just having a great time. They sympathize with you, but now everyone is excited to have this reception. And instead of them thinking, oh my God, my friends think I'm a loser, they thought, oh wow, I'm a star. So that is the great thing. You can turn a wedding around, and the little things that can become major problems can actually make it a pretty
great story.
Yeah.
Well, we are often told by our relatives that even 29, we're going on 28, 29 years, that it's still their favorite wedding. It's still, they still think that our wedding was their favorite wedding because there were so many wonderful things to do and funny things that happened. And I think as performers, we had an added bonus in that we knew how to go with it. And I knew that I'm very detail oriented, and I'm a perfectionist on a lot of things. But when things are live, you really learn to go with it. And sometimes those can turn out to be the best moments.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like right now, I'm hoping people are taking some wedding pictures with their masks on.
Yes.
You know, because that's something that is so now,
mm-hmm.
and they'll the minute they see the picture, they'll know exactly when and where it was, you know, in history, not just in their lives.
And we're going to be speaking to some wedding coordinators in the future, find out what is happening now and what new ideas are coming around to the wedding industry, along with all the other different kinds of events and concerts and clubs and all the different kinds of entertainment that are going to be happening. So we're really excited to talk to you about that and talk with our guests about that.
Yeah. So that's what our wedding was like, and you know, maybe you can make comments later on what, you know, yours were like, what your favorite mishaps were, and
we'd love to hear
how
that.
you got around them. And we will see you next time on our next podcast.
Yes, absolutely. If you are checking our Best Entertainers Facebook page or Instagram page, we will have information coming up. This won't air until the first week of September, and there are things that are happening that we will put on those pages. Like, for instance, at the end of September, Maria Bamford, who, if you don't know her, she is a brilliant, brilliant comedian. She's been on television many times, is having a podcast where you can ask her questions about life, and it's going to be hysterical, I know. So we'll put different things like that on our Facebook pages, and we're excited, and we miss you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.